Hey guys, welcome to another video, and today we have this. This is the MacBook Neo. I'm very excited to go ahead and share my initial thoughts about it and just give you a little bit of an unboxing. So yeah, let's go ahead and get right into it. Now for my very initial early impressions, just using the device day to day seems very smooth, although I can already see that I'm using 6 out of the 8 gigs of RAM. As for the computer itself, it is absolutely built like a tank, and that's kind of expected from Apple. Only Apple really could have pulled off creating a computer this nice and also feels so solid. There's no way nothing is ever going to happen to this. Now when it comes for the I/O of the Neo, it's pretty simple. You only really have 2 USB-C ports, only one of which is a USB 3.0 and the other one is USB 2. That is another thing I have my thoughts on. I really wish that at least both of them could have been USB 3, or if not, at least have one of them be Thunderbolt. That might not be something that's allotted by the fact that this is a phone chip, but I digress. I will get back to you guys on that. The other thing we do have is the headphone jack on the same side, as well as both sides have stereo speakers. So just in my initial impressions of playing anything on them, they didn't really sound that great, but if for $500, they're definitely not bad at all. Now, another ergonomic thing I really wanted to talk about was the keyboard. The keyboard is not bad at all. It feels just like any of the other Apple keyboards, and in fact, I actually really do like how it looks. For all of the Neo computers, the keycaps are a little bit lighter compared to the actual chassis color, and while Apple is maybe trying to bring in the same model that they do with their iPhones, in the sense for the base iPhones usually have less premium colors, I absolutely love the new colors that come with the Neo. This indigo is a color that I really wish I could have on my main MacBook M4 Air, but that's not going to happen. I also really like how the keyboard completely contrasts the chassis. Now, the double-edged sword of the keyboard is the fact that there is no backlight. That is something that is very disappointing, considering that the main product demographic for the Neo is going to be for education students. Now, let's say you're someone in high school, or you're a small kid who's learning to use the computer for the first time. You are not going to have your keyboard binds memorized at all, so having a backlit keyboard, at least on this computer, would have made the most sense. I know. Now, when it comes to ergonomics, another thing that they have made a sacrifice on is this touchpad. I don't personally mind it at all. I do really like the fact that when you click down on it, you feel more of a physical click, as well as you hear the haptic feedback that you get immediately from pushing the button down. Now, that is to say, you do have to press a little bit harder on this trackpad versus any of the traditional MacBook Airs or the MacBook Pro trackpads, which felt really light by using Apple's Force Touch technology. But overall, I really can't complain. This still seems like a solid build, and the screen also, well, not the brightest, which I can tell already just from the room I'm being in having a lot of sunlight. This does struggle a little bit more in terms of readability compared to the other devices I have. Right now, with the education discount, you can go ahead and pick up one of these for $600 to get the maximum, to get the maxed out variant, which will give you 8 gigs of RAM. I already think that 8 gigs of RAM is going to be a little limiting, considering I'm already hitting 6 gigabytes of RAM on it just from casual use. Now, in terms of what I actually want to compare this to, I have my wife's old M1 MacBook Air from 5 years ago when she bought it. And that has very similar performance and specs compared to this one. And in some ways, I would argue it's even better. And then I would also want to compare it to my M4 Air, which I bought about, I want to say a year ago. And that computer is also fantastic, but the main thing is you can go ahead and pick that up refurbished as if it was almost brand new from Apple for $760. I really think that comparison is something that a lot of people are going to be interested in, primarily because all of these computers have very similar form factors, and especially if you're someone trying to buy an Apple computer or get into the ecosystem for the first time, it's probably something that you should consider. So yeah, go ahead and look forward to seeing that video from me. Please comment, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. See you guys!